Okay, Buckeyes gold line stand, vid number 2. Now we're getting into the coaching. We're getting into the two masterminds, Sarkisian versus Knowles, which I said it would come down to in my last vid in the Oregon series. Go back and check it out. I said this is what it's coming down to, and that's what it came down to. And on the first two plays of this goal line stand, Jim Knowles in his post-game press conference said, I went big people. I went with big people. Now that may sound like silly, right? That's just common sense. You have big heavy, you have an extra lineman, a big fullback, couple big tight ends. You've got to go big people on defense. Well, you'd be surprised how many teams don't do that. It's hard to believe. Even in the NFL, back to the Tennessee Titans and Ravens playoffs, I think it was 2019. And the Titans with Derrick Henry were going big people. And the Ravens weren't combating it. They didn't even put in an extra lineman in the first half. They didn't do that till the second half, let alone extra linebackers, leaving your cornerbacks out there. And in this last playoff game, now the Ravens have Derrick Henry, and they go big people. And Mike Tomlin, the great defensive mind of the Steelers, didn't go big people. Even until the second half, he didn't even put in an extra lineman. And when he finally did that, he still left his cornerbacks on the field. So it's less common than you think. It sounds so logical. It is. I don't know why we don't see it more often. But Jim Knowles isn't fooling around, man. He went 5 linemen, 4 linebackers, 2 safeties. And that was his big people. And let's take a look. We also want to look at the Sarkisian play calling because there's some questions on those 2 runs. There were 2 runs in a row. One a quick hitter up the gut and another one a pitch. Were those bad calls? You know, you got to know the whole game to understand if those are bad calls or not. Hart, when you're looking at play calling, you've got to understand the whole game, the big picture. I don't have an understanding of that yet because I haven't looked at the film of the whole game yet. So I will have a better understanding, but I'm just going to isolate this goal line stand, those 2 calls, the first 2 plays of that goal line stand, and, you know, do my best to say, hey, were these the best calls? Could Sarkisian have done some other calls? Or did Jim Knowles just get him with the big people? Or did that Bermuda Triangle and the great talent of Ohio State get it? We're going to just take a look at these 2 plays. Okay, so now we get into the scheme a little bit. So, big people. That's what these first 2 plays were about, said Jim Knowles. So coming out of the huddle, nothing crazy going on here except the package. So again, Ohio State, Sawyer, Williams, McDonald, Hamilton, JTT. 5 linemen across. You got Sonny Styles and Hicks out in the linebackers, Reese and Cody Simon. So it's a 5-4 with 2 safeties, Downs and Ransom. So that's a real heavy package by Ohio State to combat 5 linemen, a tight end out here, a tight end right here, and then DLineman, Savea and Lole, the lineman here. So that's a big, heavy package, and they come out in a little, I forget how to call it, inverted T shotgun, or whatever you want to call this, pistol T shotgun kind of thing, and then quick shift into the thing and a quick snap, okay? That is not a bad play. You know, before we yell at Sarkisian about this, it is not a bad play. Smart maneuver of the package, of the personnel package by Jim Knowles. Like I said, not everybody does this, right? So this is, first of all, you got the right guys in there. Second of all, they're ready to go. So they shift, but it's okay. You've got the right guys. You don't got to move a lot of guys around when you have a bunch of big people. You have a bunch of big people. So what? So put Savea at fullback. I don't care. This is what the Ravens did. But for some reason, Tomlin and the Steelers didn't put the big people, but Jim Knowles did. So they come up here, and this is the Knute Rockne shift, man. They shift and they run the play. And you know, Knute Rockne used to do this in the late teens, early 20s, and you didn't have to be set. And then they changed the rule and said you had to be set because he was killing teams with his Rockne shift. And he didn't come up with that shift, by the way. That goes way back to a guy named Williams at Minnesota in the early 1900s. Check it out. But Rockne had a lot to say about it when they put the new rule in that you had to be set. He basically said these big meatheads are morons and all they know is brutality, and he comes in with intelligence and burns everyone, and they're trying to take the intelligence out of the game. Love it. I loved Rockne's quips. He was the smartest smartass I've ever read about. But he's right. You know, he came up with something. They had to try to combat it. Nick Saban tried to get rid of the tempo no huddle because he couldn't figure out how to stop it. People couldn't figure out how to stop Knute Rockne's shift.
So anyway, so now you have to be set. But they got set. They come up, set. It's really well done, really well executed. It's not a bad call. People, we want to run up the middle against Ohio State. Yeah, not a bad call. And as I showed you in the last video, massive talent by us. Great play by us. And so a great job by Knowles to get the big package in there. A good call by Sark to start. I would have liked off of this call to go tempo, high tempo to the next play. Even the pitch, even if you did that pitch, if they would have done it with a high tempo, it might have caught Ohio State. Okay? And even Knowles said, hey, well, we'll talk about that in a second here. But bam, up the gut, we stuff it. Just massive stuff. And I showed you that on the last vid. JTT, plant, throw, everybody's in there. That's the stuff, okay? Now, you come up to the next play, and this is what everybody's talking about. What the heck? They bring in 2 receivers and take out the 2 D linemen. The linemen are gone, 2 receivers in, still 2 tight ends. There's Helm, there's Juan Davis. They're doing a pin and pull. A pin pull for the pitch. And this tackle comes out to lead the way, their best lineman, okay? And Banks is his name. So, little quick pitch. Now, I would have, again, liked to see this with tempo. We didn't get tempo here, okay? As you see, there's no tempo going on. So we bring in 2 cornerbacks, Iggy and Matthews, one-on-one, okay? Leaving the 2 linebackers, but you take out a couple linemen, and now we got our regular, package, okay, on D-line to combat this 1-2 personnel, okay? Everything's good. I just, again, do a little fake pitch, roll yours out to the right, and bring a Davis across right here. He could have come across the formation. All kinds of stuff could have been done. This tight end come out here and sit. Davis goes across. I'm just making stuff. All kinds of stuff could have been done. And again, if you did it with tempo, you might catch us off guard. But you come out slow. So even Jim Knowles said, hey, against a bigger package, this isn't a bad idea. So again, I'm sorry, this isn't our regular package. We're doing the bigger package, but it's not quite as big because we had to bring the 2 cornerbacks in. But look, it's still 5 linemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 linemen. So it's still a 5. Now it's instead of a 5-4, it's a 5-2. Steve, 2 linebackers. Okay, right here, 2 linebackers. And there's a safety, and there's a safety, but now we have 2 cornerbacks. So Jim Knowles said he was using big people. It was a big people. It was jumbo people, the first play. Then this is just big people because we did put 2 cornerbacks in, take 2 linebackers out. But you still had your big people across here, okay? So Jim Knowles said, hey, you can burn people with a crackback. It was really a pin and pull, but you can burn people with this, okay? And so it wasn't, again, a terrible call. I would rather see this with tempo. Come out quick and run it. Or you got to mix it up. I'd like the RPO right in this area. I'd like the fake and the rollout. That kind of stuff, just especially with the 5 linemen, I would have liked to seen that more. But again, if you're going to run this play, do it with tempo. So yes, maybe you can nail Sark on the play call here. But again, good stuff by Jim Knowles. And he got in his 2 cornerbacks real quick for man-to-man. See? And there's where Downs shot through and then Ransom. You do this a little quicker. That's the only thing I say. You get up there and pop. This play should be going already. Then Downs doesn't get to trigger as quick. It's already gone. See, this guy might have already been over here, and then we'd see. But still, tough. Look at this. It's just a tough call on this. If you're not doing that with tempo especially, okay? Tempo, maybe it works. How about tempo and a fake pitch, roll out, and all other kinds of stuff you can do? So, I almost felt like you can say it's too simple, but in a weird way, it was overthought. I think Sark sort of overthought this. And now I'm going to see the whole game and understand there might be signs during the game of why he did this. Pop one in the middle, pop one out wide quick. There might be signs of why he was doing this. But without the tempo, we were set and we triggered. And, especially Caleb Downs right here. He just triggered. And that was the end of that. So let's take a look at these last 2 because there were still 2 more chances. I know they lost 7 yards here, but hey, there were still 2 more chances to get that ball in the end zone. What the heck happened?
Man, and there it is, Sark and Knowles. Now we're getting into that matchup, the big matchup of all with those 2 brilliant minds. And Jim Knowles on those first 2 plays matched Sark by coming out jumbo package. Big jumbo package the first play, 5-4. And 2 safeties, no cornerbacks on the field. 5 linemen, 4 linebackers. Next play, you had 2 receivers Sark brought in for the linemen. So we had to bring in our 2 cornerbacks. So then we were more like a 5-2. But Knowles, very smart, kept his 5 linemen on the field, didn't remove a lineman. So again, that also kind of helped so that downs could trigger and get that pitch. And then you ask yourself, hey, was that a bad call by Sark? Again, got to see the whole game to understand what his thinking was on that play call, okay? And maybe even ask him. But like I said, even Jim Knowles said, hey, that's not a bad play call versus the big people package. Not a bad play call. It's just you need to do it with, in my opinion, tempo. You come up quick, then do it. And even then, you do a tempo and then you fake that pitch. What if you pitched it and he threw a running back pass? Now I'm getting a little crazy, but I don't know. And who knows what they were thinking all week and the game planning they were going through. Hey, what if we're at the goal line, pressure packed? This could have been what they were planned, like a quick hitter up the gut off a shift, and then a quick pitch off a shotgun. Okay, out wide. Okay, that might have been the plan. It just could have been something, and they stuck with it. And Knowles got him. Sark got Knowles early. Knowles got Sark late.